What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of Taiyo. That intro might not stick. I don't know. I'll figure it out. This is the first episode. Taiyo is an Animal Crossing podcast. It's going to be super chill, super relaxed. If you don't already, go ahead, share this with friends. Get yourself a bowl of popcorn. Maybe get a drink. I don't know. Get something. We're just going to chill out and have a good time, okay? So I figured for the first episode, right? I'm not going to have any special guests or anything. I'm not going to be talking to anyone else. I'm going to start with like an introduction about what this podcast is, what we're going to talk about in the future, how often it's going to be recorded, and then we'll move on to the most important topic, since it's like January 1st when I'm recording this, January 2nd when I'm uploading. Where is Animal Crossing Switch? I mean, it is 2019 now, and I want my Animal Crossing Switch. So, I mean, that is a little, dumb of me to say. I don't know. I don't know. I definitely don't expect it in January. It's not going to happen. So we'll be talking about that. Maybe a January Direct. We'll talk about that. Just, we'll just kind of introduce ourselves real quick, though. I guess I'll introduce myself since I'm the only one here. Basically, my name is Drake. I am an Animal Crossing fanatic. So much that I made my own really bad podcast, which no one will ever watch, but if you do and you are watching, please give this video a like, because that would mean the world to me. But honestly, what this podcast is, it's just, I guess, like, just a podcast you can watch from a true fan's perspective, I guess. We're going to make videos whenever there's special events. We're going to talk about certain things in Animal Crossing New Leaf and Animal Crossing Switch. We'll have episodes with guests where we'll talk about, which game was our favorite and what we liked about each game, things like that. Basically, if you can think about it, for Animal Crossing, that's what's going to be in here. So, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a great time. But I mean, it's going to be pretty good. I know that whenever Animal Crossing Switch comes out, we'll be doing a ton of podcasts on that. So please, if you haven't, this is another shameless plug, slap that subscribe button, put on notifications, that way you never miss a video, never miss an episode. Starting like next video or next episode, we're going to have hopefully a guest or something, and then we'll talk about all kinds of cool stuff. I'm not going to tell you guys what that's about yet. I don't want to reveal too much of this podcast ahead of time. I do have social media, but I'm not going to post it for this, so good luck finding me. I don't know, you probably will be able to. But moving on, I guess, we're not going to talk about this too much, the introduction, because I just want to do like a short podcast this time. This podcast is only going to be probably about 10, 20, 30 minutes, somewhere around there, so I guess more of a discussion type video. From now on, though, they're probably going to be about an hour long, so in the future, you're going to need to get your popcorn and your other snacks ready. But I guess I don't really know how often I'm going to post. I guess as often as possible. I'm in school. I'm in college right now, so I'm not sure how much time I'll have. Maybe once every week on a good span of time. But more believably or more reasonably every couple weeks or every month, somewhere in that range. Not often, not super often, because of the fact that I am in college and I do have a lot of classes next semester, so, it is what it is. But with that out of the way, we are officially done with the introduction. I know you guys are already tired of hearing the intro. Our first topic, our only topic today, I might bring in some more stuff, or what my hopes are or something. Where is Animal Crossing Switch? That's the topic, honestly. What I mean by that is we haven't heard any information. Okay, so we got the reveal in September, right? We got it on September 13th of 2018, which, if you think about it, doesn't seem that long ago. It's only 3 months, but man, it feels like an eternity. It feels like it's been a long time. So to go 3 months without any information after reveal, it feels kind of like Metroid Prime, how that was. I know that's been like a year and a half or whatever now, since I got revealed, just the logo or whatever. I mean, at least we got a little bit of gameplay. I mean by that, like, literally just Tom Nook at his desk telling us we're getting a new game, so I wouldn't really count that. But I'm thinking, and a lot of other people that I've actually been watching YouTube videos, I'm always searching up Animal Crossing Switch, just so you guys know. I'm searching it up, and I always find a video that says January Direct. question mark, that kind of thing, whatever. And it makes me wonder because a lot of people are saying January 10th. I'm just not sure if that's... I want to be optimistic and say, yeah, that's when it'll happen. I really do. But the issue I'm having with that, though, is that it's already been 3 months. And I feel like what Nintendo's doing with Animal Crossing is they're just getting us with such a small amount of information as they can, and they're going to do a huge reveal. So I'm not sure if I believe there's going to be a January Direct. I know that in past iterations, I think it was for New Leaf, they had a January Direct. I don't remember. They had a January Direct for Animal Crossing. It was huge. It was just an Animal Crossing Direct. So the best situation we could get is having an Animal Crossing Direct this January, hopefully January 10th, because that's right before I go back to school, go back to college. So it'd be nice to have that. If it is, then I'll definitely be on Twitter all day long, just talking about it nonstop. I'm gonna be super hyped. I might do a podcast right then and there. Again, I'm not sure if we're gonna get a January Direct, because I feel like that, although it feels like it's been forever since we got a reveal, I don't know if I can see it happening. I feel like they could really push that to like March or February, because 2019 is a really busy year for Nintendo. We've got a few games coming out. We got Animal Crossing, we've got Luigi's Mansion, maybe Metroid Prime, maybe Bayonetta. We've got Yoshi's Crafted World. We've got what was it? There are a few games. Okay, there's a few good games coming out. Plus we got a lot of third-party support. We got Mortal Kombat 11 coming out in April. We've got a few other games coming out as well, which look really cool. So it's gonna be a really busy year for for Nintendo. It's gonna be really busy for Nintendo in 2019. So I'm not sure if we're gonna see one in January. I mean, I really do hope so, but I guess at worst I can see maybe a March Direct. I do feel like I keep going back and forth here. I don't know. Part of me saying please be January 10th, and part of me is saying I don't believe it's going to be January 10th, because I really want it to be in January. I just don't know. It's hard to tell, and I feel like if I get my hopes up too high and I say it's January Direct and it's not a January Direct, I'm going to be devastated, even though I shouldn't, because it's very possible it won't happen. There's no set in stone reveal yet of any Nintendo Direct in January. I know Nintendo likes to wait until the last second to reveal it, but we're 9 days out from the reveal, or from when this January Direct would be, January 10th. We're already 8 days away, 9 days away. So I feel like if it is gonna be January 10th, I feel like they would have already done a reveal, possibly. Saying, hey, here's this Animal Crossing Direct coming out, or hey, there's just a Nintendo Direct, and then reveal it as Animal Crossing. I really just don't know, though. Now, as for release, though, I do feel like this is going to be a summer launch at the latest. I really don't think they're going to push it back to fall or winter. Mainly, I'd say, because with all the American releases of games, except for, Wild World, which was my birthday, December 5th, that's when that came out, besides those, it seems like most of them, I may be wrong. I don't know about population growing for the GameCube. I'm not entirely sure. But it seems like there's been a common denominator of spring, summer, fall in that area. Winter has never really been, I guess, has never really been a release window. And I think that I would say up until February is when I would count it as being winter. So I feel like, because that's when, in Animal Crossing, that's when the leaves turn to be spring and stuff. So I do think it'll be in the spring or summer, and that would put us, hopefully, I could say in April, May. A May release would be really good, because a lot of people are getting out of school at that time, and a lot of people could play. Now, I do believe that I really do think that it will be a spring or summer release, because I feel like fall and winter with what we've got so far, that's what, Luigi's Mansion 3. Oh, yeah, we got Pokemon Generation 8 coming out this year, coming up or whatever. I guess now 2019, we got this coming out this year. We got a few really good, but also really high on the flagship kind of list, I'd say. So we got a lot of heavy hitters coming out this year, especially in quarter 3, quarter 4, in that fall and winter release window. So I feel like if they're going to put out any games, probably the best place would be somewhere in the summer. Now, I don't know if we're going to get a quarter 1 release, though, because a lot of the rumors were saying, like, quarter 1 release, and those came out, like, a week after the stinking Direct, and everyone was like, oh my god, yeah, and then they just stopped talking about it. So, I'm not sure on the validity of that, but I really do think it'll be sometime in the summer at the latest. I really do. But honestly, I guess I could talk about what I want to see from Animal Crossing Switch, because I haven't seen that many good ones, I'd say. I mean, if you go through YouTube and you just search up, like, things I want from Animal Crossing Switch, a lot of it's just, like, really weird stuff, like, oh, I want to do, like, some Stardew Valley stuff and, go farming, or I want to go ride an airplane to an entirely different place, or I want to have a big city, or there was even one I saw, I don't remember who it was by. They were talking about how they wanted the game to be focused entirely on the island, Tortimer Island, and you would just turn it into your own, like, resorts kind of play. It was, I don't know, I don't think they're going to do spin-offs anymore. I really don't, because if you remember, well, of course you remember, you're watching an Animal Crossing podcast, of course you remember. In reality, I mean, their third party, like, their spin-offs haven't done very well. I mean, if you look at it, Amiibo Festival was a disaster. Nobody liked that. I mean, I still bought it, but I got it used almost brand new. Like, the CD had no scratches for $10 a year after it came out. Like, I mean, oh my goodness. It's not a good game. I'll take that back. It's a good game. It's just so boring and bare bones that it's like, you play one game and you're done. So it's like, I haven't even put the stinking game into a Wii U right now. I don't even have a Wii U. I just bought the game for my collection. I own all of the games physically, so I wanted to get that game as well, and really, it is not that good. It is not very good. Happy Home Designer, I mean, yeah, it had a little more to it. It had some more meat on its bones, but still, it ran into that issue of, like, it wasn't really that good. And, I mean, a lot of people did play it, but there's just... The thing is, it doesn't even have the same community as Pocket Camp does. Pocket Camp is just a mobile game, and that has a surprisingly large community on, like, Twitter and stuff. They've got a lot of people that play that game. I mean, now I don't think they're gonna do any more of those spin-offs, like owning your own campsite, or, making or designing a bunch of houses, or, playing on a board game. I just don't see them doing that anymore, because all those three, I mean, Pocket Camp has made them a lot of money, but I feel like from now on, if they're smart, if they have been smart in thinking, they're definitely going to push for another a mainline game, or what is the term I'm looking for? Like a mainline game, whatever. That's what I'll say. I think they're going to go for something more along the lines of New Leaf, which is what I want to see. Honestly, I want to see New Leaf basically transitioned over with more features. I'd say my biggest things would be the villagers actually being interesting again, because the biggest issue I've had with the villagers since population growing, excluding that one, I guess, since Wild World, would be the fact that they're so bland and they don't do anything. Like, in population growing, there was, like, aerobics or whatever, their morning aerobics. You would go and, talk to your villagers, and they'd be doing stretches and stuff, and there was, like, the sports fair, whatever it was called, and you could literally watch your villagers run around the wishing well in a 3-lap race, or you could see them, like, shooting balls into, like, a net, like, playing basketball shoot off, basically. Like, it was just so original. And there was so much to do. I mean, there were even, like, balls, like, just, like, beach balls and, like, soccer balls and, basketballs, all kinds of stuff all around your town that you could literally kick and your villager would chase after. Like, they actually had interactivity with them. And in Wild World, they just completely stripped that. I mean, villagers in the rest of these games don't do anything besides just stand around with a fishing net or, just a fishing rod or a net, like, they don't really do anything. So I feel like introducing, again, in the Switch version, more ways of interactivity, maybe even villagers sitting on public works projects more, asking for more public works projects than they did before, I guess like just more events as well, because there's not very many events, and the events that we do have, the villagers don't really participate in. So I think, because I was just in my town, that's the name of this podcast. So I'll take like a little break here. The name of this podcast is Taiyo, or Taiyō, however you want to say it. It is Japanese for sun. So me and my sister, we both play Animal Crossing, and I could probably get her on an episode of this podcast, but Taiyo means sun in Japanese. So I was sun and she was moon, and I think hers was Suki or something like that. I think that's how you pronounced hers. I'm not sure if I remember the name of hers, but she was the moon. And so we would all, like, I would get the yellow roof and she'd get the blue roof, and we try to keep it, sun and moon themed. Unfortunately, she kind of stopped playing in that town. She remade a new one. So now I'm just by myself, but I love the name so much that I really don't want to get rid of it. So that's why I named it this. But what I was saying before I kind of took that break is that last night, which was New Year's Eve for me, I was playing in my town on New Leaf, and all of my villagers on that countdown all came and stood around the town plaza, and we're all just like hanging out, popping the party poppers and clapping at the fireworks and stuff. It was super awesome, and like it was really cool because all the villagers were there and like joining in on it. So I feel like introducing more events where they're surrounded around that town plaza, or more events where they actually try to do stuff that's fun, even for like the bug offs and the fishing tourneys, for example, making them actually harder to beat, because in Animal Crossing New Leaf it was so easy, bro. It's so easy to like win against your villagers. They get like 20 points, 40 points, and you can get like 100 points in one fish or one bug. Like I think that restricting the villagers to only the lowest possible points, and I get it, it's a game for all ages, so a lot of children play, a lot of old people play, and a lot of like people my age, like 19, college, a lot of people play this game. So I feel like making it too hard would be an issue. But even if, to counteract that, you could literally just put on in like the settings menu, like via whenever you first get in, like increase difficulty or something, or like make events better, just some kind of, you could make it sound cool, but make it to where the villagers are actually harder to beat and you actually have to try, because fishing tourneys and bug offs are literally pointless except for getting furniture, and even when you get that furniture, there's nothing else to do after that one. So every single month these bug offs and fishing tourneys are happening, and you don't feel like playing them because there's nothing to do. So I feel like, having that said, I feel like it's kind of an issue with New Leaf, and they need to fix that for the next one. I'm sure they will. I'd like to think. But I feel like it's a little easy and villagers are kind of bland. So having them do more stuff would definitely be helpful and definitely be appreciated. But also, I'd say my next thing that I really want is more online for the next game, because what I'm saying by that, let me elaborate on that, is that with Pocket Camp, for example, the fishing tourney wasn't based on villagers, it was based on other people. So trying to compete to see who gets the most points. So I feel like having like a leaderboard somewhere in town, like next to the notice board or on the notice board or something, saying, how many fish this person caught, or how many, bugs did this person catch, or how many fossils did they donate to the museum. I feel like that'd be a nice way to get people to play more and try to get to the top of that leaderboard every week or every day, or every month. And that would get people playing a lot more, and it would also provide more of something to do, because I know a lot of Animal Crossing is based on just relaxing, taking your time, having fun. But I think there could also be some of that competition in there, and I think that having it as a leaderboard instead of like a mandatory thing, like for example with the fishing tourney, how you don't have to beat your opponents in Pocket Camp. You can literally just have 2,300 points or something, for example, and they have 2,700 points, and it's not a big deal. You're not losing out because of that, but it is that nice little, it gives you a little push to try to strive to get better and to try to play more often. So I think introducing that would be really cool, and plus it kind of adds that online feature without forcing online, but it's also a way to have online without having, set up and play, or without having, and the best part about this is that you don't have to have a Wi-Fi connection all the time to use the leaderboard, because if you have the leaderboard update daily or, weekly, you just update it once a week or once a day or something, and if you, during the day, you just go out somewhere, it just doesn't update. Boom, done. Easy. You're not forced to update. You're not forced to have Wi-Fi connection, but it is a nice perk if you do have Wi-Fi connection, which a lot of people do. It's a nice way to introduce like online competitions, I guess I'd say. So it's a casual kind of thing, but it gives you something to do, if that makes any sense. They might be asking for too much. They might be asking for something weird. I know a lot of people don't like that. I know a lot of people just want to be all by yourself or just hanging out with friends, not competing. But honestly, I feel like having that competition is healthy, and it's also a good way to keep you into it. So like, I think that's one of the bigger things I want. Another couple things I want, and then I'll end this one off. I'll only make this one like 30 minutes or so because I know that this is the first episode. Not a lot of people are going to watch this, and I also don't have much to talk about. I only have like 1-2 topics, whatever. Another thing that I really want, though, is a bigger town, because in population growing on the GameCube, the town was actually the biggest that we've seen in the series. So I don't want it quite as large as the population growing town, but I do want it larger than a New Leaf town, because the New Leaf town, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the smaller ones. Besides, I think Wild World had the smallest towns, New Leaf has the second smallest, City Folk has the second largest, and then Population Growing has the largest. I think. That might be right, might be wrong. It's not like it really matters. Handhelds have less space than the console ones. Makes sense. But now that the Switch is a handheld but also a home console, I mean, it can run actual, full console quality games on the go or like on your TV. I think that the hardware is powerful enough to make a town that's as big as, for example, Population Growing or City Folk. Having multiple tiers would be nice. Being able to, introduce more landscaping options, just stuff like that. I mean, I'm not really too concerned about that. I'm sure they'll make the towns bigger. But with that, I also want more villagers, because in Population Growing, you could have, like 15 villagers or something. Whereas on New Leaf or City Folk, you only have not City Folk, but with New Leaf, you have 9 villagers, 10 if you get the campground. So I think that with the Switch, I'd like to see 15 to 20, somewhere in there. I think 20 might be too much, but it would make the town feel larger again. It would make it feel more active and open, because only having 9 villagers to talk to, I've only had 9 villagers in my town for 6 months, because I just now built the campground. So I've only had these 9 villagers, and every single day, if I'm only talking to 9 of them, it's the same thing over and over. And honestly, you just see a lot of them at the same time, or multiple of them in the group or whatever, and then you're done in 5 minutes. So having 15 people to track down, or to talk to, or to do chores or tasks for, would be really nice, especially because it makes the town feel more alive, but also makes it more interactive. So for me, that's a big issue. I mean, it's not huge, of course, but only having 9 villagers versus having 15, that's a big drop off, especially because New Leaf is from 2013 and Population Growing is from 2002, 2003. So to have it go down over the course of 10 years doesn't really seem like it's going the right direction. Now, of course, that is because it is handheld versus console. And of course, forever, there was only one or the other, and now it's a hybrid. I get that. But now that we have that hybrid that can, play games like Doom, Warframe, Wolfenstein 2, all kinds of games that are really powerful, I think it could definitely run Animal Crossing really well on the go or on the TV. I think that docked or handheld would look really good for this game. So, I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to go too much in depth with what I want to see from Animal Crossing Switch, because I will be doing another episode on this soon of the podcast. If you did enjoy this podcast, if you did make it this far, please like the video, share it with all of your friends. Let's get more people onto this podcast. I know there's a lot of Animal Crossing fans like you that are really interested and really excited for this game coming up, and I know there is so much hype around it, it's not even funny, okay? So that's it for this episode of the Taiyo podcast, okay? If you want to see more, or you want to hear more, I should say, because this is a podcast, Share this with friends. Comment down below you want to see more. Tell me down in the comments what you want to see from the new game, or when you think the game is going to release, and I'll read them all. And I guess within the first 24 hours of the podcast, or within the first week or something, I'll respond to all of them. We'll see how many comments I get, because this is a new channel with 0 subscribers. So again, that's it for the Taiyo podcast, episode 1. If you did enjoy, please share it with friends. Please comment down below. And of course, subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you can see the next episode right here on the Taiyō podcast. Without further ado, my name is Drake. It's been great. I'll see you guys next episode, and we'll talk about some more Animal Crossing Switch, okay? Without further ado, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.